What is up? Oh, this thing is crooked. What is going on here? We doing this? Always technical difficulties. Give me a second, but you guys know what the deal is. There we go. Always start this show off by showing love to those companies who help make this podcast possible. First is going to be my friends over at CompanyCam. I know everybody out there, especially technicians. You get sick and tired of going into your camera roll, photos, whatever you want to call it, and you got pictures of data plates, furnaces, air conditionings, everything except what you want to see. Your wife, your kids, your husband, if you're a woman, whatever it is, you don't see the pictures you want. Well, those days are over. Company Cam is able to categorize all of these things for you, keep them in one organized spot so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. No more trying to buy more data. You don't need to do that. This has it so it's always stored. It's geotagged. You know exactly who put it there. It keeps them all perfect. And then you're able to share that with the customer using pre-made professional templates to be able to share progress photos with your customer. So if you're doing a lot of new construction jobs or things like that, and you got to, whether it's not not the homeowner and it's actually just another contractor, you're able to send these photos and it just looks so professional. It also does things where it's able to go on the internet. If you're trying to share your work, you're trying to build up your SEO, Company Cam can link into that and you can pick the photos that you want to be shared on Google and different places. So if you're proud of your work, you can put it out there. More people can see it and they make it as easy as can be. Guys, Company Cam is adding new things all the time. I have them coming on the show soon because they keep updating and adding so many new things that I can't even keep up with it. But Company Cam is amazing. It has been an amazing add-on for us at Beltway. We add it right on to our House Call Pro, and it's there for all of our technicians to use. I can go back 4 years ago to a customer and find exactly who took a picture, where they were standing in the yard, the angle they were. I mean, every single thing that I think I could possibly need. It's more information than I need. It is all there for you to take. So if any of you want to give Company Cam a try, go to www.companycam.com/HVAC Uncensored. They will give you a free 14-day trial to test it out. Then they will give you 50% off your first 2 months. All right, so go check out my friends over at Company Cam. Next, speaking of that, my next one is my friends over at House Call Pro. I get people messaging me all the time saying, "Hey Gil, what CRM should I use?" And there's a lot of great ones out there, so I don't ever want to talk bad about others. But in my personal opinion, I think that House Call Pro is the best bang for your buck. I was one of their biggest naysayers. Uh, all of you that listen to this podcast every week know this story. When I first went to Beltway, the first thing I said to Ryan is, if we want to grow this company, we can't do it with House Call Pro. And all House Call Pro has done is prove me wrong time after time after time. They have one of their new features, the pipeline, that builds in automation where jobs just slowly drop into these different categories called pipeline, and it takes care of you. It automatically goes from job scheduled to job done, job invoiced, job needs attention, estimate needs to be sent, whatever it is. It makes it super simple to take care of it. Their reports have gotten better to be able to know if you're making money, what your techs are doing, how many callbacks you've had. It is super simple, and people don't realize that House Call Pro is a fraction of the cost versus all of these other CRMs. It really is. That's why I say it's one of the best bang for your bucks. And when you take House Call Pro, even with some of these add-ons like Company Cam and others, it still ends up being way cheaper than some of these other ones. So you can actually make profit instead of paying for some of these CRMs that are just absolutely astronomical. All right. House Call Pro as well. They just changed my link, but pretty much if you do housecallpro.com/HVAC Uncensored, they will give you the same deal, a 14-day free trial, and then they will give you 50% off your first 2 months as well. All right, if you want to check those out. So last but not least, I want to talk about one last one is my friends over at Bluon. And I always talk about their tech support side, but I want to talk about this. If you guys don't know that Bluon has released their Bluon for contractors. A lot of you have talked about tech support and, you don't want to have to pay for it and you don't want to just all those different things. You think your company should, have to take care of it. And sometimes I agree with that. Well, they have made it so you should be going and beating on your owner or manager's desk. They have made it to where the manager, the business can get this and provide it to all their employees. And you guys will get all of the tech support, the parts ordering, and then your boss or whoever's the manager will be able to see exactly what you're doing, to be able to check your truck stock. They've built this so it is absolutely amazing. I am getting ready to use this for Beltway, so I'll know more details when I do it. I was one of the beta testers of it, and it was awesome then, and they changed a whole bunch of stuff. So I cannot wait to see what it is now. So if you haven't already downloaded the Bluon app, please go do so. And if you are a business owner, please go check out the Bluon for Contractors. I will have a link to give you a free month to check it out here on the next week or so. So that way you guys can get in there and mess with it. If you like it, great. If you don't, no harm, no foul. You got it for 1 month for free. All right. With that being said, let's get on to the pledge. I have an amazing show for us tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil Cavey Jr.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I'm your host, Gil Cavey Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday night, another hump day, and another amazing show for you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to some of the people out here in the live show. It's the old faithful. A lot of these people that are always there. Mr. Nasty, what is up, my man? Freon Leon, rookie, what is up, bro? Busting my balls. I see you in there. Obviously, our guest is in there. We already know who it is. Mr. Jason Johnson, what's up, my man? Let's see. Miss Liliana Morales, what's up? What's up? Thank you for being here again. We'll see some other people as they start to enter in. And Freon Leon was the first again. My man is first every single week. So thank you guys so much for being here. Bear with me tonight, man. I'm surprised it didn't happen as much last night. Getting over that cold, man, I thought I was done, but I'm like losing my breath fast. Doesn't help that I smoke like a chimney, but just been losing my breath fast and stuff like that. So I apologize for that. But yeah, I have an amazing show tonight. Obviously, a lot of you, if you saw last night, I was on his show last night, which is absolutely amazing. I had a blast. I really enjoyed being a guest on somebody else's show, and obviously getting to meet him for the first time, and it was so fun. And I'm super excited to have him on here tonight. So if you guys did not see that, please help me, and let's put our hands together and welcome the host, and he does the channel Homeowner's Guide to HVAC, Mr. Joshua Griffen.
What's up?
What's up, buddy? Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I started to message you earlier and be like, hey, I've been sick for the last 3 days. I'm not going to make it to the show tonight, knowing that you were on my show last night. But I was like, nah, Gil don't know me like that yet. So you might not know. I'm kidding.
No, it would have been funny. Yeah, I got sick last Thursday. Our plumbing manager, he was sick, got me sick. Friday was horrible, and Saturday was so. And then Sunday, I felt decent, did a bunch of stuff around my house. And then all of a sudden, Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday, I feel like I'm going the wrong direction. And I don't know. I technically, I don't know if anybody's noticed. I got to go back to the doctors. I used to have a bunch of health issues, but I have lost like 30 pounds in probably the last like 60 days. And not that I didn't have weight to lose, but I just want to make sure that I don't have anything else going on. So it just worries me because I've had other things that I've beat in the past that I hopefully don't have to deal with that again. So just gets a little worrisome, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, man, life's short.
Yeah, got it.
Like,
Got to take care of yourself. I tell people, one of our techs now was having some health issues, and I told him, man, I said, hey, go take care of yourself, man. Work will always be here. I want to know that you're okay, you're taking care of yourself, and all that kind of stuff. So, Deep Fried Commercial Kitchens, I see you just came in. What's up, buddy? But anyway, if some of you don't know who Joshua is, he has an amazing channel. I mean, 141 something thousand subscribers, doing absolutely amazing. And a lot of you know how I feel, and I said this on the show tonight, but I love the way that he does his stuff. And yes, he talks to homeowners, but he does it in a way where it's truly educational. It's done in a way that I think is absolutely awesome. He's not one of those guys out there that is making his brothers and sisters look bad. So, and I told him that last night. I think it's absolutely amazing. Joshua, let people know a little bit about you, about how you got into the industry. How HVAC became what you do for a living.
Yeah. So I actually went to school to be an electrician originally. The school that I went to did not have an HVAC program, and so I went to the next one, I guess. And then chasing jobs, I ended up at a company after a few years that did all three, meaning they did electrical, plumbing, and HVAC, which I look at as a blessing because I got to learn so much. And I ended up, it's so crazy. You would think out of the three, I would have gotten licensed for electrical first. And I don't hold a license for electrical. I hold a master's license in HVAC and plumbing, but not electrical. And I actually have reasons for that. I didn't want to hold it because of all the hoo-ha that, people, they want you to do stuff for free if you're doing it. Like, for example, if you're installing a heating and air system, they want you to run the new circuit for free as part of your price. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. You need to get an electrician, So
I hear you.
But yeah, no, I fell in love with the industry. Out of the, I don't know, 12 industries there are out there when you talk about blue collar trades, heating and air, it was the first trade that I came across that I said, that's where all the guys with brains go, right? No offense to electricians and plumbers. I'm sure if any of them are in here, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about all the other electricians and plumbers. But when I found HVAC, I was like, the guys that would have been doctors and lawyers but didn't go to college, that's what they end up doing, right? You have to have a brain cell to do what we do. And I fell in love with it. I love the trade.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I had to tell Rookie he's out. You said you have a brain cell to do HVAC. So I'm just kidding. But that's awesome. And I love hearing that because, I was the traditional, my dad did it. I followed in my dad's footsteps. Now my son is going to do it, which that's a whole nother thing. So I like hearing people's different journey about how they got in because there is no right or wrong way. And there's a lot of people that are getting in where they have no ties. They didn't have a family member. They didn't know anybody. They needed a job. This place was hiring. Next thing you know, 25 years later, they own a company or they're still doing HVAC. So there is no right or wrong path. Some go to trade school, some don't. Everybody's got a different journey. There's no one size fits all when it comes to any trade for that matter. So how long were you in the trade before you're like, I don't want to work for somebody else. I want my own company.
Oh, before I was ever in the trade, when I was growing up, I grew up real poor and we lived in a trailer park and the richest guy in the trailer park was the guy that owned the trailer park. And so that affected me as a kid. I just remember thinking, I remember as a kid thinking I wanted to own a trailer park someday, but I just knew that, I didn't want to have a boss. I didn't, that I wanted to own my own business and, chase the dream, if you will, the American dream. And so, yeah, before I ever even found HVAC, I knew at some point I wanted to own a business. What's crazy is I actually sold that business about 4 months ago. And I actually work for a distributor now, and I do all the heating and air trainings and tech support for them. So,
that's awesome. Yep. And to be honest, a lot of people don't realize Running a business is hard, man. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of stress. So that's why I told you last night on your show, man. Touche for you, man, for selling it, getting out while you still have your health and your fucking sanity with you. Um, and you can do something that you love, because I would love to just be able to do the technical side. I stay at Beltway because I love the people. I love the people that I get to work with. I don't necessarily love the work. I mean, I love HVAC. If I was fixing things, that's fine. That's what I love and kept me in this trade for 20 something years. It's the paperwork and the number crunching and is this going to work? Is that going to work? That is, if I had hair, I'd pull it out. So I totally get that. So did you start your company by it was just you? You started by yourself and slowly grew it up? Did you have a partner, family? What's that story?
No, so I had started working for a property management company, and I was doing all their heating and air. And then they put me in charge. So I was in charge of it was like, I don't know, 10 employees or so. And I started moonlighting. I went and got my master's license, and I did it. I've never done side work in my entire life. I've never done side work. Everything was legit. I got licensed and insured and everything, and I started moonlighting. And I always say that I started digging my well before I was thirsty, because fast forward about 6 months after that, I got fired. And I got fired. I actually deserved to be fired. Looking back, I did not feel that way. But looking back, at the time, I got big for my britches. I hear other people now and they'll say, my company could never replace me. I'm way too important. And I'm like, no. I saved my company. They were spending, I think it was like $600,000 a year on HVAC on the properties that we managed. And I lowered that personally to around $250K. So I was saving them over $300,000 a year. And I thought I was bulletproof. I thought I could talk to whoever any way I wanted to. And they showed me that that was not the case. And
those are life's lessons, though, man, because maybe if that doesn't happen, then you don't turn in to be the person you are now. That's how I look at 100%. It. Like I told you last night about my whole drug addiction. And, I wish that I would have been in my early 20s and started a company with my dad like my plan was. But I didn't. I was shoving things up my nose in other places. And, but I feel like if my addiction never happened, I might not have the successes I have now, because and everybody's heard this story, but I'll say it again for you is, when you're an addict trying to find that next hit, you will do anything and everything to get it. And when I got clean, I was like, damn, Gil, if you take that same mentality into what you want to do, I'm like, there's nothing that can stop me. I'll get anything. And that's how I started doing it. It was balls to the walls, nose in the books. Why wait to do tomorrow what I can do now? And that's just how I've always been. I'm always moving. And my thing was just trying to stay organized to make sure I get everything I need to get done, because I'm always going 100 miles an hour for good or for bad. That's just how I am now. And I just think all those things that happen to us for good or bad are life lessons who make us into who we are. And you take that one little experience, and who knows, maybe the finished product right now is not the same,
Absolutely. I think it made me a better man, to be honest with you. And I'm with you. At the time, it was really tough. I remember my wife was not very happy. And, but that first week, I lined up a job interview. I had a job interview lined up with a small heating and air company that ended up being a competitor. And I had 2 weeks before that interview, from the day I was fired to that interview. And the first week was rough. The first week was scrounging, trying to find something to do, trying to get that phone to ring. The second week, I made more money at the new company, my new business, than I would have at the job I was just fired from. And so Friday night, I was supposed to go in on Saturday morning to that job interview. And Friday night, I said to my wife, I don't want to go to that interview. I made more money this week without it. And let's just give this thing a go. And it was bittersweet getting rid of the company, because I did build it from the ground up. I still have the little utility trailer that I started out. I used to, the other heat and air companies used to make fun of me because literally I'd go into the supply house and they're like, it's the Jeep Wrangler guy. Cause I had a Jeep Wrangler and I pulled around a little utility trailer and that was my service vehicle. And that was my first service truck and I built it up. So it was definitely bittersweet. But my biggest problem was I couldn't turn it off. I mean, I would do stuff like this, hang out, do a show. And then as soon as it was over, then I would get right off there and go back to sending out proposals or building my website or whatever. I just could never turn it off. And it was just, I lack of a better term, I was burnt out after 9 years of doing it. So,
yeah, it's amazing how that happens. It happens to the best of them. So 9 years, how many employees did you have when you sold it? What did you build it up to?
My ninth year, we had gotten up to 12 total. So counting me, we had 12. And then, so we were actually in business for 11 years. But after that ninth year, I started trimming the fat. I never really fired anybody just to trim the fat, but I let them, they wanted to leave and I let them go. Right.
Yeah.
And, so we started trimming the fat. And by the time I'd gotten to where I sold the company, I'd gotten all the way down to 4 employees. And so, yeah.
Nice. Did you and I you don't have to give me details. This is nobody else's business. How was the process of selling it? Was it like a private equity? Did you reach out to somebody and they did all the work for you? And please don't say anything you don't want to. So I know that question can be kind of open ended.
No, I think I think it's important to note because I did have a couple brokers approach me. And so some of them said, you don't do at least 5 million in sales, so we're not interested, and different things like that, different conversations like that. But ultimately, I had a couple companies that were interested. I had 2 actually give me a bid, if you will, and I had a third one evaluating, and they were all very large, or in comparison, larger companies. And only one of them was local. And so I wanted to stay local with it. I wanted somebody that was going to take care of my customers, honor our warranties, and maybe even take care of our employees. Now, only one ended up staying, but he is in a much better situation. He makes more money than he did with me. I think he has better benefits. And I remember telling him, and I started bawling. Like, I'm like, dude, I want you to know I could have gotten more money for my business, but I'm choosing this local company for you, ultimately for you, not just our customers, but for you. So you have you're not going to be hung out to dry here. And anyway, it all worked out.
No,
he's happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And see, that's what gets me. And granted, I'm not the owner here. I know Ryan's not selling. I was going to say, I wish I would have known in Virginia. So never mind. You said how many hours are you from DC?
About 2, just over 2, depending on what part of DC we're talking. But I can get to the metro in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's probably a little far out because we're in the process of buying companies. We just acquired one. We had another one that's been around for 30 years that we made an amazing offer. But when we told him that we were going to fire his kids, they were the problem with this company. It was like, hey, man, we'll take this, but they're not getting any special treatment because, they're your children and family. So if we buy this, we'll part of the evaluation, if they're good at their job, then they can stay here. But if not, then they can kick rocks too. And I think they were like, shit, we're definitely going to get fired because we're only here because our dad owns it. And then he decided to back out. And then probably 6 months later, way past the deadline we gave him, he started reaching back out, and it was like, nah, I'm not even interested now, man. Like, I don't even want you. So sometimes those things have to happen. But no, that's cool that you did that. And so did you have it worked out? Like, did you know, hey, I'm trying to word this the right way. So in your plan, was it, okay, I'm going to sell this and then I'm going to go try to, do the tech support and the training and stuff? Or was that just kind of opportunity that popped up after you were going to sell the business?
Kind of popped up. So I had gotten those bids about 6 months before I actually sold. And I hit the brakes because I was like, I was making more money doing YouTube than I was fixing air conditioners. But at the same time, YouTube can shut you down tomorrow, right? They can, you know, that's what's good about what you've got going is there's so many platforms that, if one gets crazy tomorrow and shuts you down, you still have a following, right? But I've kind of put arguably too many eggs in that basket with YouTube. And if they were to, decide that for whatever reason I said the wrong thing and it was taken out of context and they're going to shut my channel down, it was just scary, right? I have a family. So fast forward to when I sold, I was approached by the owner of this local distributor, and he said, "Hey, we want to hire you." He wanted to hire me part time, and he wanted me to do tech support for my competitors. And I was like, no. I'm not doing part time. I'm either doing this or I'm not. I'm not going to be training a competitor. And but anyway, yeah. So I made the leap, and I'm having a lot of fun. It's pretty fulfilling at times too. Training other guys and hearing their stories and what they're up against, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's awesome, man. Good for you. Yeah, I feel like I would like that. I love helping other people. And another thing is people listen to this podcast enough. I make the same phrases and say the same things over and over. But Mr. Jim Bergman told me one time, he said, you don't really know something until you have to teach somebody else. And, it by teaching somebody else, you're helping pass on, you're helping your trade. At the same time, you're making yourself better, because if you're going to teach somebody else, you have to really know what you're talking about and understand it. So maybe you go dig into the books a little bit just to make sure that you're explaining it properly. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal. And I love that. And I enjoy that. So I do see my path going there at some point, to kind of round off, because that wouldn't even be like work to me. You know what I mean? That would just be like getting paid to dick off and have fun and train somebody. So, that's cool, man. Really, really good for you. So, all right. So now we'll backtrack a little bit. What made you say, I want to make a YouTube channel?
So along the way, I always ran lean. Like, we always had very low overhead. I at one point, I hated the cost of doing radio commercials. So I started a podcast, and it was not a podcast on your level. It was very localized, and we would interview different people in the local area. And then halfway through, I would throw my commercial in there. Right. So I was just always looking for ways to do different things to advertise the business and get, more information out there. And make a long story short, we started doing the YouTube just as a way to attach videos to our proposals or put those videos on our website. And after about, 100 videos or so, we had gotten to 700 subscribers just by not really even trying, just doing some videos. Here's this product, and here's why we sell it here at our company. And YouTube sent me an email and said, "Hey, if you get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to send you some money." And I was like, okay. And so every video after that, I said, hit that subscribe button. And they sent me that first check, and the rest is history. I put everything. I stopped the podcast. I stopped everything and leaned into the YouTube.
Sweet. How long has your channel been around? Sadly, I don't know. So,
well, I shot my first video back in 2016. And that video was it was literally me passing one of my employees, recording the van as we're going by. And I'll put some kind of song in the background. And then I think maybe even wrote some text on there that said, called Griffen Air was the name of our company, called Griffen Air. But yeah, so that was way back in 2016, and I didn't get serious. I didn't get that first check until I think it was 2020, I think. And that's when I really went all in. And I've done ever since that first check, I've done at least one video a week. But most weeks we do 3. So
Nice. And you do it all yourself?
I have an employee now. So she's been with me about a year, and I had tried several different editors, and you know, just there's people that know how to edit, but they just don't. They're either not your style, or it just wasn't a fit. And I think a lot of people think just because they can put a few pictures up on a slideshow and put some music in the background that they know how to edit a video. And so I found her, and she was the first one that not only did she know more than I did, which isn't hard, but she could edit better than I could. But then on top of that, she understood my style. Like, she wasn't just, throwing text up. Then, I don't know. Some people, when they edit, it's just like too much. I'm like, you don't need text over my face right now. So
I know exactly what you mean. I've went from the podcast growing to go up to having editors to firing them and doing it myself because, I've had ones that have tried to do too much and, the astronomical prices. And I'm just like, I don't feel like this is worth it. Or the pricing wasn't bad, but I'm like, this is shit. I can do this myself. And I stopped. And I'm just very picky when it's come to that. But like I said on your show, I can't take this thing to the next level. I'm only one person. I can't do it anymore. So I've got to hire somebody, but I would really love to hire somebody local that I could talk to that literally worked for me, could come to my house. Be like, dude, I'll buy you a station, like a computer and everything. Like, you can do whatever you want to do it from your house. I don't care, but somebody that I can talk to. And it's just been hard trying to find that. And the one that I did, it just wasn't going to work. I was afraid if I bought him a laptop, I wouldn't see it again. So, and the sad part is he's a very, very talented kid. And, he's in a bad spot in life. So, no, that's awesome. And I know you talked a little bit. So what made you go, you said you didn't see people doing it. So you decided to take the route of, I'm going to go after homeowners, rather than just making videos. What was that thought process?
Yeah, so a lot of people hear the name of my channel and they think, oh, he's DIY and I hate him, right? A lot of guys in our trade. There's probably guys in the chat that have thought that. And I say guys, like guys and gals, unisex. Mm-hmm. But when I started my channel, there were a lot of the guys that are out right now, they weren't even out yet. Like, I think Mitch Migliaccio started his stuff, right? That's when I first got started. And so, but even back then, some of the guys that I was watching, they were making content for other heating and air guys, but nobody was making videos for mom, right? If mom's going to buy a heating and air system, what advice would you give mom? And I think part of that too is I don't even know that I felt like I was worthy to teach other heating and air guys what we do yet, but I did feel like I could give mom advice, stop worrying about brand, worry more about, hiring a good tech, right? Just little things that we all know that maybe, homeowners wouldn't know. So that's kind of always been the idea, the thought process. And I probably still get in trouble sometimes and maybe give out a few tidbits that some heating and air guys don't want homeowners to know. But at the end of the day, I want to protect our trade just as much as guys like you do. So I'm on board with that. I don't do DIY stuff. I don't do stuff that I think a homeowner could get hurt doing or anything like that. Most of my stuff is what I call talking head videos, where I sit in front of the camera and I say, hey, if you're calling contractors, ask them this question, ask them why they sell what brand they sell, ask them that question, and just try to give them advice like that is always been the hope here.
Yeah. And like I said, I like the way you do what you do because I used to be one of those guys that I was like, oh man, they're hurting our trade and yada, yada, yada. But I also think that frame of mind for me was ignorant. And and I've went back and I've watched a bunch of your videos, and I love the way you do it because you are just answering questions. You're just guiding them, whether it's a YouTube video or them calling your shop and answering a phone call. That's pretty much what it is. It's just answering, customer questions. And like I said on your show last night, the more I think about it, those customers that are going to fix their own stuff are going to do it regardless. And the people that are going to call a company are going to call a company regardless. So whether they're watching your video, Craig's video, my video, anybody else's video is irrelevant. We can't control. Once we put it on the interweb, we can't control who's going to watch it. So, and then the other thing from a business standpoint, there's a lot more homeowners than other techs. You know what I mean? So when you're trying to get subscribers and stuff like that, when you think about it from a business standpoint, I get it. I totally do.
Yeah. You're giving away my secrets now.
And
no,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and I have videos that I have a bunch of them shot. They just got to be edited. I haven't had time to do it, but I might even answer some homeowner questions. You know what I mean? And I have no problem doing that. I'm always still going to be geared towards people in the trade. That's just kind of my MO. But I think I might do some stuff where I answer it or be like, hey, but I'm always going to put that little, thing in there that, this is made for other HVAC professionals. If you have an issue, you should call, just to kind of cover my ass. But, I may still answer some of those questions. Even though actually we had a question from Randy Torball earlier.
While you look that up, I'll even throw in there. I think that it could be argued as well that homeowners are more inclined to do DIY stuff watching pros that are doing videos for other pros rather than my stuff. So my videos are for a homeowner, but I'm not doing any DIY stuff. I'm not going to show you how to replace a capacitor, right? So just because one of these other guys that do videos for other heat and air guys, I would argue their stuff is more DIY friendly than my stuff because they're actually showing the homeowner how to replace that capacitor, So
that's very true. No, that's very true. And especially the guys that are good, that are very thorough. Because let's be honest, a capacitor, you don't have to be a master tech to be able to change a capacitor. Right. Especially for a common part that's not that expensive, that they can Google it and look online and get that same capacitor for $15. So I get it. And once again, going back, that person who's going to be Googling it to see how much it costs because they want to do it themselves was never going to call a company in the first place. So it is what it is. But Mr. Randy, if you are still here, hey, Gil and Josh, I got a question about my central AC package unit. I notice anytime we have a filter in the return, our airflow is dramatically reduced to hardly anything. Is there a cure for that? Hold on, he asked it again in all caps. Quick question. On my mobile home package AC, anytime filters are installed in the return, our airflow is reduced very much, even if it's clean air filters, and is there a cure? Sorry, I can't read. Or is that an equipment issue? Go ahead. I'll let you say first, but I have something I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah, we've got a homeowner in here. Look, I'm bringing you over to the dark side, and you don't even know it.
Yeah. I've actually
these are the kind of
Randy before in different chats, though.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, Randy might be a pro. I'm just picking. I've got a lot of concerns hearing that, right? I mean, I think, first of all, you should be able to add a filter without, reducing airflow. Even if you're adding static, you should not be, in my opinion, you should not see a noticeable drop in the amount of airflow. So I think that there's probably an array of issues going there. I would assume he's probably got a ductwork problem. I think that's probably easy to say, right? But I would even go so far as to say, let's first of all, let's inspect the ductwork. Is there actual, hole there? Has it come loose? Is there something visibly wrong? But then I would go one step further and say, is it sized properly? What's our static pressures? What is our static drop when you're adding that filter? What kind of freaking filter are you trying to add?
Yeah. What's your fan speed? You know what I mean? Like there's there's all kind of things to throw in there. And say your duct works fine, the unit's in good shape. That filter should not make a difference. So I agree. Is your system undersized to begin with? Is your fan speed proper? Do you have a gaping leap? I mean, a hole in your supply or your return or something. But I feel like that's going to be a problem regardless of a filter's in there. So that's kind of a weird problem, man. You might need a professional if you're not. So I don't know if you are or not, Randy. So I don't mean to offend you, but if you're not, I think you might want to have one take a look at that, because that's kind of a goofy problem to have, to be honest with you, bud. That filter should make, no difference in, not dramatically like that. Like he said, your static can change a little bit, but if that filter's messing it up, then your static was screwed to begin with.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So when did you start doing? How long have you been doing the live shows? I mean, I know you've been making videos and stuff like that. How long were you into it before you're like, hey, I want to start doing these live shows and have guests and interact with them and stuff like that?
Probably. So I've been doing the live show for a year, I think.
Oh, nice.
Probably over a year. But the show for the longest time was just me sitting in front of the camera, reading the chat and taking questions like what you just did. And so anyway, I think we're going on probably 2 or 3 months having guests on regularly. We've had some really cool guests, people that I look up to, including you.
Thank you, man.
Folks that, I mean, I don't even think they would even know who I am, years ago, but it's been a lot of fun on that front. Yeah, we've got Ty Brannaman's going to be on our show coming up. Again, I think if there was a Mount Rushmore of trainers in our industry, Ty would probably be on there somewhere.
Oh, hell yeah.
And
Ty's the man.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just pretty cool. So I've reached out to a lot of the other folks, and they haven't responded. So maybe seeing my fat face on your show, maybe they'll respond now.
Well, and if you let me know who you want, man. And if it's somebody that I have a relationship with, dude, I'll reach out for you. You know what I mean? Because I get it that there's a lot more shows and a lot of people are getting emails about doing different shows and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm always, willing to help. I've been fortunate about being able to meet a lot of people in the industry, especially people that are, people know who they are. So I'm blessed to be able to call them friends. So yeah, I'd love to do that. And I know Craig. If you haven't had him, Craig would come on. Craig loves doing that kind of stuff. I know he just can't do Wednesday nights because of a church thing he does. That's why normally whenever Craig comes on my show, it's another night. It's not Wednesday nights. For that reason. Yeah. I talked to.
I never watch you live. I always listen to your podcast after. On Apple Podcasts. But it's weird because when I listen to it, I hear all the things that you're doing, but I've never been able to actually see it. So I hear the pledge, I hear the music, but now I'm going to be able to see it in my head what I'm actually listening to moving forward. So anyway,
that's cool, man. And it's funny, most of the people do listen to the audio, and that's all I did for the longest time. And I started doing these just to be able to get the video out there because people wanted to see it. And I'm like, well, rather than editing it, giving myself another step to do, I'll just put it out there live. People can come in and hang out. And when I first started doing it, there was nobody in the chat besides Rookie. My buddy Rookie would be the only person in there. So yeah, it's grown, but I do want to start getting to make more video content. That's why I have all these different spots in the studio. Now it's just getting myself down to a rhythm, and I'm doing this on this day, this on that day, that kind of stuff, to get it done, because how it is, man. I mean, you want to do all this stuff, but you still have to be a husband and a father, and you know what I mean? I still have all those things. I have to make sure that I get in there, or what the hell are you doing this for? What's up, Kraus? Yeah. What's up, main man? Mr. Colin Kraus, even though he's no longer a mail order at all anymore. He changed all remnants, and he knows what I'm talking about. That's why I'm not calling you anymore. I'm not calling that number. If it's not 410, I'm not calling.
He does some really cool videos, by the way. I mean, I don't know if he edits his own stuff, but it's kind of like next level type stuff that on some of his stuff. It's not just sitting down and piecing together a few pieces of footage. I mean, he's actually there's some strategy behind some of his stuff I've noticed. So
yeah, he's got like 2 Oriental kids that he keeps locked in his garage behind all of his Milwaukee packouts, and they edit all of his videos. I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure Kraus does all of his own stuff to support his Milwaukee packout habit. His wife told me in Chicago that she's going to send him to meetings for that. It's funny if you didn't hear the story. He was sitting there, and I was petting him like his hair, and then he looked at me like I had 8 heads, and then I just started doing it with both hands, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm going balls deep, man." And that's why I said I was talking about AHR on your show. It's so fun. I almost could care less about the show anymore. And it's just about going to see my friends, man, hanging out with my buddies and being able to, have a good time with them. It's a blast, the relationship you get to build. So I really do want to plan. I just know it's expensive for people, but I would love to just plan like some big ass bash one weekend and see if everybody could come and literally just hang out and do things. And we'll see. Maybe I can try to put that together. I've done local hangouts before that I got to start doing, and they were pretty good. Even though the one time people got mixed in that weren't part of the show, and I was like, "Damn, dude, how did 15 people rack up this much of a bill?" I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I'm pretty sure I was paying for beers for that old guy over there. It has nothing to do with HVAC, but it's all good.
I think you have enough of a following that you could probably be almost like Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know who Gary V is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably be like, "Hey guys, I'm in Orlando this weekend. If you're hanging out, let's all meet up at Bobby's Coffee House on Saturday night." And you'd probably fill the coffee house with a bunch of heat and air guys that are just there to hang out and meet you. And I bet that would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, and it's I don't know if you remember when who did it was Bluon did that road show where they were taking like that going around the different supply houses. That's actually before, right when that started is when I started being sponsored by them and dealing with them. But they had talked about doing something again, and something I've always wanted to do, and I'll throw this out there, is to do just that, is to get in an RV and just drive around the United States and just meet different people, do stuff like that, and then just show up to jobs. Like literally just walk up on the job and be like, "Hey man, what you doing today?" You know what I mean? Some people might tell you like, "Who the fuck are you? Get off my job." And some people might be like, "Oh my God, it's Gil." So even though I still love that when I go around the local supply houses, mostly everybody in this area knows me when I walk into supply houses. And it's funny. So even doing this for quite a few years, I had Chicago was the first time that somebody asked me to sign something. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, let's take a picture or something, man." I was like, "Trust me, this signature will be worth nothing." And I was like, "I'll give you," I guess I was giving away shirts and hats. And he was like, "No, man." He's like, "I just love for you to sign it." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "I'll do that." But I felt weird. Like, I was like, "Dude, like I'm a normal dude, man. Just because I put this in front of me doesn't mean anything." But
sign my boob.
Yeah.
Sign my boob.
Yeah. Like, "Oh, righty. I'll sign your kid's forehead." Would you sign their chest? I wish if some girl would have popped out a boobie, I'd have signed it. That would have been better than the grizzly guy that I signed his T-shirt. It's like, I'm just kidding. If that guy listens to the show, it was awesome to meet him. So I'm just joking. But it was awkward. It was awkward because I don't. I appreciate the things that people say about me, but I don't feel that way about myself. You know what I mean? It's just this microphone doesn't make me any different than anybody else. So. And trust me, I've learned just as much from doing this podcast as people have learned from me. And that's 100% the truth.
The other interesting thing is, and this isn't anything new, but it is interesting how you feel like you know somebody when you watch them, right? So I feel like I know you, even though you probably don't really even know who I am. Like I feel like I know Kraus, I feel like I know Adrian, which Adrian and I kind of do know each other, but it's just weird how you can do some videos and people feel like they know you, even though you don't even know who they are. It really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
Even probably more so than even famous people, because at times we're actually sharing real stuff.
Yeah, and and that's what I love, and I appreciate. That's one of the best compliments I've ever got. Is they're like, man, I meet you in person, you're the same exact way that you are on camera. And that's what I want to be, man. I don't want to change who I am to do a podcast. And most of the people out there that are successful doing this and people know who they are, that's how they are. They're no different in real life. And that's what makes it so awesome. So sorry, I'm trying to read these. I gotta make the screen bigger. These comments, I'm looking at them like side-eyed, can't read. See, would charge a cover that my
Have
buddy
you ever watched oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good, go ahead. I was just BSing anyway.
Have you ever watched there's a YouTube guy that used to do YouTube videos years ago, and he called himself Dr. Z. You ever watch his stuff? I mean, that's like old school stuff.
Yeah. I watched back in the day. I remember him.
I think he's I think he's out of the game now. He's got, older, but he's one of them that if I ever get to meet him, I'd like to get him to sign something. Cause I mean, I just remember starting out and starting my own YouTube stuff, and, I would watch him, I'd watch him, and then Gray Furnace Man, and all these guys that, they're getting older now. That's one of the things that sucks about life. You get old,
Yeah. Steve Lav doing his, one video a day with his dog. And then to be honest, one that I really started watching a lot is I used to be a big fan of Zach Ciota, HVAC Shop Dog.
Yep.
And me and Zach have been rocky over the years. I still talk to Ralph every once in a while. Ralph Wolf, TNN Services. I'd watch Ralph. And it's funny meeting Ralph in person because he is the tiniest fucking man ever. He's
really,
yes, he's like a child or a man in a child's body. He's so small.
Never would have guessed that.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Like, and I heard him say how small he was, but then when I saw him and I'm like putting my arm on his forehead, oh yeah, Jim Panetto. I haven't Jim too. He's in like Cleveland doing the refrigeration stuff. I know Jim stopped. But yeah, Zach, and to be honest, I've never had him on my show. And the fact that I podcast with John Israel in the beginning, which that's the person I was talking about that had some rocky things. And whatever, I've spoke my piece about him. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, which calls me to be on the other side of Zach and them. But we eventually started talking. I think there were still some hard feelings, and then we got to be that we were fine. And I used to feel a little bit though that Zach was good at help, like he wanted to help people until somebody surpassed him. And then it was like, oh, fuck that guy. But that could have been just how I felt. But I really would love to have Zach on here because I have nothing but respect for him. And if it wasn't for me finding his channel, I would have never found John. I wouldn't have been a guest. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. And that's the God's honest truth. So everything happens for a reason. So I really do need to reach out to Zach and have him on here because I'd love to sit and BS with him. Like, watching his videos in the beginning, his little thing. So if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I got to set that up.
Yeah, Zach's a smart guy too.
He is.
I feel like a lot of the guys that, I don't know, there were times when I would come across certain people and I'd be like, what is this joker doing? But Zach's pretty smart.
Yeah, and it's funny. You would think Zach is not a big guy by looking at him, but Zach is 6'3". He's taller. And then Ralph looks like he would be a tall, skinny guy, and he's like 4'6". You know what I mean? He's, I don't know how tall he is, but Ralph he's tiny. Rookie, you were with me when we were hanging out. Well, of course you were. You're always with me. Um, it, just explain to everybody how tiny he is. What do you say? John isn't a horse anymore. He got a weight loss after 2 years of donations. Yeah, that's for screw that. Yeah, Hobbit height. I told you. Yeah, Ralph's tiny. But he's doing like tech support for Mitsubishi or something like that. He drives Ralph Wolf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he does. And then he lives in like he bought a truck and like this like mobile like trailer thing that he rides around in and lives in that. And I'm like, hey brother, more power to you, because I think his 2 sons still live in Georgia. Last time I talked to him, and then he Lord of the Rings height. Come on, okay guys. Small. And then he's like right outside of Georgia or something like that. And he travels back and forth. But yeah, it's cool hearing all those people's story. It's funny though, like Steve Lavin them. Steve's never really been, I've never had Steve on. I don't think he's ever been a fan of mine. Because I remember when I first started the podcast and I would cuss, and I still do. And I don't do it as much as I used to. It's just, I don't know. Foul language has sadly always been in my vocabulary. Even as a Christian, I still cuss. I don't know. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And they always told me, oh, your podcast is never going to grow if you use foul language. They're like, I can't listen to your podcast with my kids. And I'm like, well, I don't make podcasts for children, so I don't know what to tell you. It says explicit on there for a reason. I make it for grown adults. And not that I ever use that as, motivation, because that really could mean less. But obviously I made it, so they were wrong.
I feel like, and I hope he would be okay with me saying this, but maybe not, but I feel like Steve is the kind of guy that's not really a fan of anybody, right? I mean, he's just not going to be your fan, No. I hope it's okay to say that.
He's a guy, like, I feel like in the YouTube world, it's about consistency. So you have people that maybe they start out making one video a week, but they try to make it a really good video. Maybe they put a little bit more effort into editing or whatever it is. Or you have somebody like Steve he don't give a shit about the editing. He's putting a video out every day. Maybe it's not the best quality. He's using a 1984 camcorder, but he's consistent. That video was coming out every single day. And Steve rock and rolled, So it once again, go back, like how we said, the HVAC, there's not one path to make it, on YouTube. Not to mention, a lot of these guys were doing it before it was cool to be a YouTuber, before anybody was making money that was doing anything, So everybody had to pave the way for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
he's a pretty smart cookie too, though. I mean, I'll give him his props. I mean, he's one of the only ones. I mean, this is plumbing, not heating and air, but I remember him pulling the old lead spoon out and melting the lead down to do a pour on a cast iron, joint and stuff like that. And I was like, this dude's next, there ain't too many guys that can still do that,
No, I remember doing it with my dad, the old lead Nokum joints. That sucks. Screw that. They can get that shit. No, Steve is definitely good. I mean, I think plumbing is more his go-to, and then oil. I know I used to see people like comments on his like air conditioning videos, and they're like, "That looks like shit," blah blah blah. And I'm like, everybody's gonna have haters, especially him. He has like 500,000 or 400,000, something like that, followers or something like that. So you're gonna have those haters. It is what it is, but. That's funny, man. Watching back to those, hearing some of those names that I used to watch, and that's how this all started, man. I just got engulfed into the community, and you start seeing these people, and that's funny. And then seeing that there's so many new ones now. Have you ever talked to what's his name, Tatty Digest or something like that?
Yeah, he was on my show a few weeks ago too, and. No offense to some of the guys we've mentioned, they're all good guys, right? And a lot of them are really good at our trade. But, I think that there's this movement in the last couple years, Ben Poole has a lot to do with this, but even you and Taddy and a bunch of these other guys, Brian Orr, Craig Migliaccio, a lot of folks that their heart's in the right place and they there's almost this fraternity that has come up, right? And I'm sure it helps to know that you could win an award too. But even if Ben didn't do that, there's no longer, some of those guys that we mentioned, and they're not necessarily warm to other content creators. They're kind of on the outs now, and you have surpassed them, and Brian and all these guys that do, show love to others, if that's the way you want to put it. I don't know. Anyway, back to your question. Tad is a funny dude. You want to talk about somebody that's funny? Get him on your show. You will laugh constantly. He is so funny. So
yeah, I love to have him on. I reached out to him and we talked for a little bit, but nothing ever worked out about it. And I get it. People are busy and I don't ever want to chase somebody down. It's like, hey, the offer. And I always tell people think like, now that the show's gotten bigger, it's like, oh, you have to have a following or know somebody to get on Gil's show, which is the farthest thing from the truth. Like, I've had like second-year apprentice on here. If you have a story to tell, you can come on. I don't give a shit. You don't have to have a following or a minimum subscriber base to do it. You know what I mean? Like that's not true. And anybody that knows me knows that that's not true. So anybody who listens to this and you have a story to tell and you want to come on, obviously, if you come on and shit the bed, I'm going to tell you that. You know what I mean? If you come on and you're like, I like HVAC. You know what I mean? Then yeah. But if you have a story to tell and you're in the trade, then by all means, come on in. So, yeah, my buddy Rookie.
My only qualification is what's that?
Oh, sorry, my buddy Rookie said, "Shit, I've been on the show. There's definitely no requirements."
My only requirement is you don't have to have a big following, but you do have to get Gil to sign your boob. And as long as he signs your boob, you're on. You get to get on my show.
Where's the Sharpie? But on the scale of women, if they're above a 7.5, I sign it. I mess up on purpose. I look it off and then I sign it again. my wife says that's cool as long as I'm at least 3 inches away from nipple. I'm good.
There you go.
That's not cheating, apparently. My wife said so. So I hold that.
I have a feeling your wife didn't really say that. I don't know.
She did not say that. And thank God she does not listen to this podcast, but my mother-in-law does. So Miss Pam, please do not say anything. I don't want to get in trouble. Oh, yeah, real fast before I forget, my brother does listen to this. Happy 40th birthday to my big brother, Jason. He's in a different state right now. At his campground property. But I love you, Jay. I love you, bro. Happy birthday. And I will see you soon. So he's,
happy birthday.
My brother always listens and downloads to support me. Or he'll come on and talk shit to me. But I got to do the outtakes because my brother will come down when he comes to my house, especially my old house, and he'll get on my camera and start shooting videos, like making fun of me. And he's like, "This is Gil from HVAC Uncensored. Oh, you won those 3 bags in the giveaway? That's great because I ain't shipping them to you." I'm like, "Shut up, bro." I'm like, "I know I've had issues shipping things. Stop making fun of me." But if I put all those together in like a cut reel, I know people will watch it because they're fucking hilarious.
That is funny.
Yeah, it is. And I feel bad because, you do all those giveaways and, Sammy and he always busts my balls, but he has every right to. Some of these giveaways happen. And like I said, I'm always going 100 miles an hour that you just forget. But then you feel bad because, I get it. Some people are on the path like, hey, you're giving giveaways. You're giving away free stuff. They'll get it when they get it. And I get that. But you can't do giveaways if you're not going to, give it to somebody. Hey, you shut your mouth, Rookie. I've tried to give you things. You don't take it. Okay. I told you that I would buy you a VETO bag and you told me no, you already had one. But
that's pretty cool that you do that though.
Yeah, man. That was how I got the whole thing to sponsor with VETO, is because I literally used to buy the bags with my own money and give them away just because I know that they're expensive. And I understand that, not everybody has a couple $100 to go buy one. So if I can be the one that provides them the first bag that they get to step into that world, I think it's pretty awesome. So one bag, you even HVAC. But yeah, to all you guys, before we start closing this out, because I don't want to keep Joshua too long, Sam said no comment. I know, Sam, you always bust my balls. But to those popper things, though, when I moved, I don't know what box they're in, so I'm just going to go buy new ones, and so I can get those out. I had Global the Source on with those little short pro things, and I had 4 of them to give away. And when I moved, I don't know what box they're in, so they're not expensive. I'll just go buy new ones, and then I have a few other things that I'm going to put in that package to make up for it. So just relax. I do want to show this off. I did a video, but I don't know if anybody saw it. Some of you, if you remember, I want to say it's probably a month ago now. I had what's his name, Matt DeBarra on. He owns the Contractor Consultant. He also has a mason business. Well, he reached out to me and said that he was gonna. He said, "Hey, I want to send you something." And I was like, "Cool." Figured it was a shirt. This box is heavy as all hell, and I was joking, and I was like, "What did he put? A bricks in here?" Well, yes, he did. He did put bricks in there, but it's actually pretty sweet. He put my logo on there, and then on the back,
That is cool.
yeah, it says a gift for you. Keep building, brother. So this is really awesome, man. This is like really cool. The fact that he has my logo, it's got like cork on the bottom, so it's meant to sit on the desk. So I'm pretty pumped to that. So I do get some amazing things, sent to me, like my different signs that I have. This big sign that Acupuncture, what they're called, sent me this one. I got some wooden ones. I got one at my office. So I appreciate all that stuff. So thank you, Matt. If you're watching this, I got to text you, bro, but I really appreciate this, buddy.
I've got a yard sign.
Oh, hey, dude, the first thing I did, I had a laminated thing that I got from the UPS store that was behind me that I put LED lights on. That was how I decorated the studio. So, but I'll let you guys laugh. This is me and my brother when I was a baby. And I know you guys are going to talk shit about this, but I'm willing to do it. So, well, let me do this camera. Hold on. God, I was
Nice.
an ugly kid. Yeah, there's a picture that we have in the hallway. My mom looks like Tony Montana's sister from Scarface. All my friends used to say, and I was little. They're like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "That's my mom." They're like, "No way!" They're like, "Your mom looks like I forget her name, but they look like so and so from Scarface." And I'm like, "Oh, that's. I guess you could say worse things, so I'll take it."
I was with a friend of mine in high school one time, and we were walking through his house, and I was like, it was like this magazine article, and I was like, check that girl out, she's hot, and he's like, that's my mom. And I was like, oh shoot, sorry. So I always think about that when people talk about their mom and stuff, that sticking my foot in my mouth.
That's funny. That would be awesome, Liliana. I would love email me. And so a lot of you guys know I have switched over to the new email. So there's 2, but you guys should be emailing me at info@HVACuncensored.com. HVAC Uncensored at gmail.com is forwarded to that. And then I have another one that one's a little bit more direct. So yeah, Jason just put it up. Thank you, Jason. info@HVACuncensored.com. But yeah, Liliana, if you email me, let me know. I mean, I'll pay the cost or whatever. I don't expect this thing for free, but I'd love to see my logo painted on campus. That's awesome. Because all the stuff that doesn't make it to the studio is going to be on this outer part where the couches are, where I'm going to have people in studio. So if you don't see it in here, it's going to be out there. Just like the waving American flag that my buddy made for me. Gil at dustytools.com. You son of a bitches. Now that I'm a general manager, they say that Gil's just afraid to get his, dusty tools out and try to fix stuff again. This is what I get. I give these people free stuff and they bust my balls every week. But it's fine. I wouldn't have it any way. I'm calling your wife. Go ahead. Maybe she'll answer your phone call because she doesn't answer mine. These guys are talking shit. So, all right, man. We're gonna get ready to close this out, man. Do any of you have any questions you'd like to close out by asking Josh with? By all means, go ahead and do that. God, these guys are assholes, but I love them with their comments. Not seeing any questions, so we'll start, closing this out. Dude, Joshua, thank you so much for coming on, dude. I'm actually glad that our shows were back to back and we were able to finally meet each other. And I know that we were in that one text thread, but now being able to talk, I guess it's not really face to face, but it's face to internet face. But at least being able to talk, man, and definitely save my number and let's stay in touch and do something else together, man. I love meeting new people and I love what you're doing. And I always knew who you were and I didn't realize that I actually was subscribed, but I've tried to go back and try to watch some more of your videos as I go through and, have
Thanks,
time.
man.
And I really do love what you're doing, man. Keep doing what you're doing. That's awesome. And I love the fact that you took a different avenue, still with the same mindset. So that's awesome. No risk, no reward. You know what I mean? You're not just following the crowd. So I think that that's very, very awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah. To anybody that listens to me, if you do not, obviously you guys listen to my audio, but if you're YouTube watchers and if you don't already, go to YouTube and please follow Joshua's channel. So it's going to be Homeowner's Guide to HVAC. Make sure that you go, subscribe to that channel. And what other platforms are you on? I know you're on Instagram. I forget what the name is.
So the channel is called HVAC Guide for Homeowners, and that's what it's called across all the platforms. I'm mostly on YouTube, but we're trying to spread more content to some of those other platforms, and we're actually moving the live show to its own channel, partly because it's a lot of reasons, but it'll have its own channel. We'll still have our homeowners channel, and we'll be doing more content for pros and things like that on the live show channel as well. So I'm excited about that. We're building that out and we're having a lot of fun. So
it's awesome. It's smart that you're doing that too, because especially how you said that you're very reliant on YouTube. So that algorithm is your bread and butter, and you don't have to like it, but you have to abide by it because that's what's going to make you grow or not grow. And so that's awesome. And to be honest, when I do start doing live videos, I thought about renaming this HVAC Uncensored, podcast, and then creating another channel and calling that HVAC Uncensored, whatever, so they are different. And I didn't even think about that based on what you said. I was just trying to keep them separate. And then when I heard what you said last night, and I'm like, oh, that makes my idea sound so much better, but you have the actual fact behind it. I was just, thinking about it, but now it even makes more sense.
Yeah, we're building that out. Like I say, we'll be doing more content for pros. I had a bunch of people asking, why did you sell your business? And so I did a video called Why I Sold My Business. But then I was like, this doesn't really apply to homeowners, right? And so whenever you do different types of content like that, it just messes up the whole algorithm and all of that. So we're going to be having fun and still going to keep doing the homeowner content, trying to, keep on keeping on, but also do more content for the live show and for pros and things like that. So we're excited.
That's awesome, man. Well, I wish you nothing but success, with that channel and with the new one. And I agree with you. Don't get away from what got you there. Just add to it. So that's a, awesome mentality to have. And obviously you're always welcome on here. Just reach out to me. If I can ever help you in any way, reach out. Even as a guest, man, I'm more than happy to be like, hey man, go on this dude's show. He's an awesome dude. You'd have a great time. I know I did. So
thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out, but thank you so much for coming on, Josh. I really appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, everybody. That was fun, man. That's the first time I've ever been on somebody else's show, and then they've done my show the following night. But it's actually awesome, dude. I'm so glad that I got to meet Joshua. He's a very, very cool dude, and even talking afterwards, we're very similar as far as our love for the trade, our love for sports, and the fact that we're not that far away. So this is what I love about this: hearing people's stories, meeting other people that have the same, share the same passions as you. So another win in my book, man. It's fucking awesome, and I love it. So once again, I keep saying his name of his channel wrong. So I know he just said it's a HVA. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring it back on so I don't mess up the name of his channel. Please say it again, because I keep saying it wrong and I feel bad.
No, it's HVAC Guide. And then so HVAC Guide for homeowners. And then the new show is HVAC Guide Live Show. The new channel is called HVAC Guide Live Show. So it's a long story how I got to that. But originally it was just called my Griffen Air, and then it was going to be HVAC Guide. But it's HVAC Guide for homeowners is what the name of the channel is.
Gotcha. Thank you, buddy. I'm sorry. I didn't want to butcher it again.
Oh, you're good.
So, yes, you heard him say it. If you do not follow him already on YouTube, please go ahead and do that. Go ahead and support him. Because the info he's given, even if you're starting out in the trade, it's things that you should know. Sadly, think about it. This is our customers. He is answering questions from some who may be our customers. So you should know the answer to those questions if you don't already. So all of us can get different education from it. So please go ahead and damn you, Sam. Gil and Josh sounds like a Disney Channel afternoon show. You're an ass, but that's actually funny. So if you don't already, go follow him. I appreciate all of you for being here, as you always are with the live show. And I keep saying this, so I'm just trying to get the schedule and trying to catch up with getting my house done. But here in the next couple of weeks, I am going to start doing the live streams on the weekend. I got to get some things done here, and the weekends is the only time that I have to do those things. But I'm either going to try to do it Friday night after the overtime show, which I think is going to be hard because I know they start at 9 and they go a little bit. So that means it would be Friday at 10, or I would do it Saturday after the Misfits of HVAC. So after Jen and Ryan are done. So I'm not sure when I want to do it, but I do want to do a live stream where I can just have you guys on. We can sit and BS and just have a good time. I don't care about the audio. It's never going to go out. It's literally just a live stream. Maybe do some giveaways on that. And I want to get back to that because when I first, speaking of the old days, I remember those before there was a bunch of podcasts. That's what it was on the weekends. It was the live streams, and you'd hop on and you'd BS with each other, and you'd sit up talking until 1 o'clock in the fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. And it was awesome. They were a blast. I love those shows. They were so much fun. So I want to try to get back to those roots and get back to do that. It's going to be Monday at 2 a.m., like Jason said. So, but thank you guys. Appreciate all of you showing up. I'm going to go ahead and start to close this out. Make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites. The big ones are going to be download the podcast wherever you get your podcast. It is everywhere. The only one that has issues is SoundCloud, and I'm tired of messing with them, so screw it. Yes, Hangouts, rookie. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Follow the HVAC Uncensored podcast on Facebook. And then TikTok is sometimes, I'm not really worried about TikTok. So Instagram and Facebook, YouTube will be the big ones. And also to download the audio podcast. And I'm also going to start doing, there's a whole plan to deal with HVAC Uncensored Nation, the Facebook group, to try to get that thing going off again. But that group scares the shit out of me because they are savages in there. So you have to be careful. I don't even like going to my own group. But I have some plans for that to take that thing to the next level as well. All right. With that being said, man, remember, I want each and every one of you to make it home the same way that you left. All right. Be safe out there. Do those little things that sorry, I was mixing up too. But keep your head on the swivel. Make sure the breaker's turned off. When you're driving, keep your head on the swivel. You're paying attention to things. I want to make sure that all of you are safe out there. And like I said, you make it home the same way you left. Do the little thing. Set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right? Give back to the trade. Be the best version of you. If you're not going to give it 100%, then guess what? Don't fucking do it. All right. Don't be one of those people that half-ass things or spends more time trying to figure out how to cut corners than it would have taken to just do it right. No matter where you are in the trade, give back to somebody else. All right. Give back to somebody else, and it's going to make you better. All right. Ask questions. Read books, a podcast, a video, an online course, whatever it is. There is no excuse nowadays to say, I didn't know. Because if you don't know, it's because you didn't want to. Because nowadays we have resources and access to every single thing we could possibly want. All right. And with that being said, man, I love you, mofos. I'll see each and every one of you next week, same time. And make sure you support everybody else in the community, now including our friend Joshua. Make sure you're checking out their live shows, supporting their videos, supporting their podcasts, because it is a fraternity. It is a brotherhood. And also with sisters that we try to support each other, and we're gonna all make our trade better, whether it's one podcast, one YouTube video, one live stream at a time. All right. So see you.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Sorry. See you, everybody. Have a good night.